So that's how to fix Season 9 of The Office. Now, of course, that's excluding A.A.R.M and the finale episodes, because those are genius. Hello everybody! So as you know, because you saw the title and the thumbnail and the recap before the intro, today I'm going to be telling you why A.A.R.M and the finale episodes of The Office are pure genius. I mean, after a pretty mediocre, actually terrible last season so far, the show managed to go out with a bang. And really, in my opinion, these episodes are the perfect ending to the best show ever. And by the way, that's a fact that The Office is the best show of all time. That is not an opinion. I mean, seriously, name a better show than The Office, and don't you dare say Friends. The Office is hands down the best show of all time, and that cannot be denied because it is perfect. The Office is perfect, 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 I tell you. Perfect. Now, right about now, you might be saying, wait, didn't you say that Season 9 was terrible, so how could it be the best show of all time? Isn't that a contradiction? Blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously you don't know me, because if you did know me, you would know that I'm the living manifestation of a contradiction, and no, I do not know what that is supposed to mean, so moving on. Okay, A.A.R.M and the finale. I'm going to start off by talking about A.A.R.M. Now, A.A.R.M did an amazing thing, because it found a way to fix the big three problem that I mentioned in the last video. And they did this by making Dwight the manager. Because I think that the big three always had to be Jim, Dwight, and the manager. But with Dwight as the manager, they were able to turn the big three into, well, the big two. Oh, and by the way, Dwight as manager is just hilarious. The tea in Nepal is very warm, but the coffee in Peru is much hotter. Plus, Jim as the assistant to the regional manager is like the best decision ever made. The whole no-nonsense policy, while the whole thing is ironically completely nonsense, is hilarious. You threw the summoning bag at me, sir. I mean, they have a contest to see who will be the assistant to the regional manager. And Dwight wins! Now, what I'm about to say makes no logical sense, and yet, it may be the most logical thing I've ever said. Dwight becomes the assistant to his own assistant. You're a good assistant, Jim. Not as good as you. That's very true. Like really, A.A.R.M has so many moments that are just completely ridiculous and make me laugh every single time. Not even to mention all the times that you cry during the episode. Like the whole Jim and Pam thing throughout it. With Pam thinking that she's not enough for Jim, seeing that he's just doing stupid stuff with Dwight. And Jim having the camera crew make a disc showing that Pam is everything to him. And isn't A.A.R.M just great? Isn't A.A.R.M just great? Wait, this seems very familiar. But really, who doesn't cry during the scene where Pam is watching the video at the same time that Jim is telling Dwight about love? And then when Jim says, not enough for me? You're everything to me. Tears. Every time. Plus, Dwight asking Angela to marry him and finding out that Philip is actually his son. The way that boy looks at the Galactica is precisely the way I look at the Galactica. He has Philip choose between money and a beat as a way to see if Philip is actually a shrew. And the way that Dwight proposes to Angela, I just gotta show this one.
This is a ring, taken from the buttocks of my grandmother, put there by the gangster patriarch of the Coors dynasty, melted in a foundry run by Mennonites.
Okay, yes, I will!
I love the dance party scene with Daryl and how they end the episode with showing everybody watching the first episode of the documentary. Now really, it could have ended there, but I am so glad that it didn't. Because if it did end there, we wouldn't have gotten the finale episodes. And I mean, those episodes are just the best. I mean, Dwight shoots a bazooka. I don't think I have to say anything else besides that, but I will. Angela and her sister have their own made-up language. Mose kidnaps Angela, puts her in a trunk as some sort of shrew tradition, which causes her to not be able to walk in her heels at the wedding, so that she has to ride on Phyllis's back. I also like the detail that during the wedding, Dwight and Angela are standing in their own graves, because that was mentioned earlier in the series, and I like the continuity of it. Plus, just like all shrew traditions, it's completely hilarious. Now those are just all the times that you laugh during the episode, but just like A.A.R.M, there's an equal amount of times that you cry during it. Like when Aaron meets her birth parents, or Jim saying that Pam repays him every day for staying in Scranton just by being his wife. And then of course, there's
Michael. I can't believe you came. That's what she said.
Michael showing up at Dwight and Angela's wedding is probably the best decision ever made. That's right, I just bumped Jim being the assistant to the regional manager down to number 2. Plus it was the perfect way to show where Michael is now and that he has kids, which was something that he always dreamed of throughout his time in the series. And then you get one of my favorite lines of all time when Michael is looking at Jim and Pam and Dwight and Angela and says, "I feel like all my children grew up, and then they married each other. It's every parent's dream." Then you have Kelly and Ryan being reunited at the wedding, which is so hilarious and pretty much sums up what their whole relationship is. If you don't remember, Ryan had a kid with somebody who pretty much immediately left him. So then at the wedding, Ryan gives his baby an allergic reaction and gives him to Kelly's boyfriend, who is a doctor. Now of course this whole thing was just so Ryan would be able to talk to Kelly, and again of course, Kelly finds it super romantic. So they run away together, leaving Kelly's now ex-boyfriend with Ryan's baby. But then it gets even better, because Kelly's now ex-boyfriend gives the baby to Kevin, who then gives the baby to Nellie. And this is really cool because throughout Nellie's time in the series, it's been shown that she's always wanted to be a mother. And even though she wasn't the greatest character, it's still very nice to see her getting what she's always wanted. Man, there really is so much that's amazing about these episodes. Like it's revealed that Pam has been trying to sell her and Jim's house so that way they can move to Austin, Texas and Jim can have his dream job. Then there's the final scene where everybody has gone up to the office from the party in the warehouse. You have that cool moment where Pam is sitting at the reception desk while Jim is sitting at his desk, sort of just like how it was in earlier seasons. And pretty much everybody gets to say one final reflection about the experience. Dwight talks about how all of his subordinates have become his friends. Andy talks about the good old days and how he wishes that you could know you were in the good old days before you actually left them. And Jim's about watching a tape of your life and how everything that he has came from his job at Dunder Mifflin. This stupid, wonderful, boring, amazing job. Then Creed's about how humans are able to make any place home immediately before getting arrested. Even Kevin's about people doing stupid things if they are filmed long enough because it's only human natural. And Pam is about happiness and the beauty of ordinary things, which brings us to the final scene of the whole series. There's a lot of beauty in ordinary things. Isn't that kind of the point? Wow. I mean, like I said before, these episodes, A.A.R.M and the finale, are the perfect ending to the perfect show. And that's a wrap.